So part of
Recording in progress.
So part of it, I guess, is the avoidance of conflict, but it's also, I believe, thinking about the long game, the long game. What's the end result you want, and what's the best way to get there? And it always seemed to me that keeping my own ego in check, focusing on what others are doing, and thinking about how we get to the end we both sort of want in a way that's compatible for both of us means adjusting things at the beginning so that you increase the likelihood that you can stay collaborative in the end. And when you have conflict and stoke it, then you end up with resentments and efforts to get back at you and all that sort of stuff. And that's all just dysfunctional to me.
I think you know that Bill had the reputation at the health department and at the medical school as the velvet hammer. And that says it all. Because he could lay down the law and get people to do what they needed to do, and do it in a way that, yeah.
The velvet hammer.
In a way that was pleasant enough or soft enough to carry it through.
In both instances, as we've been talking about your ability to avoid conflict, there's a formula kind of here. But when it happened at home with your dad, you expressed your unhappiness and frustration with your mother. And in the workplace, they would come to you and they would express their anger. So it appears that part of the process of coping with situations without using conflict is to talk to somebody about how you really feel, but that may not be the real person involved initially, but someone who you can kind of vent a little bit on. Is that part of the process?
It certainly can be. All this doesn't mean that I never got angry or that I was never mad at anyone, because occasionally I was.
You just didn't show it.
I tried not to show it. Occasionally I'd show it to artists, or occasionally I'd tell Greg Irvin or Noble Sherrard or Sue Phillips, the people I was close to at work, or Lowell Gerson at the medical school, saying, well, it really pissed me off. But, so how do we get around this? How do we fix it? And then we'd work it out. But I tried not to show it when people tried to get in my face about something. And it turns out that didn't happen very often.
But there were a lot of people you worked with, perhaps some mayors of some cities, that used conflict all the time.
Mm-hmm. Well, yes. One of the mayors of Akron was known for his face-to-face approach. Don Plisquelic was mayor for a long time, very effective, but sometimes a difficult personality to work with, and he tended to wear his emotions on his sleeve much more than I did. So I've been dressed down by Don Plisquelic for not doing things the way he thought they should be done. And I just listened and explained why I was doing what I was doing, and occasionally then others would explain why we were doing what we were doing. And Don was a bit mercurial. That's just his nature. So occasionally he'd praise me for doing something the way I was doing it, and then under different circumstances, but the same set of issues, he dressed me down for it.
We're going to reset here quickly.
Stopped.